It is the 100th day of school. We read about genetically modified foods and it was a really interesting discussion. I would like to show you what I was able to figure out with my Kahoot this morning. Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday and it is the 100th day of school. It is also my dad's birthday, so happy birthday, Dad, and I can't wait to celebrate with you tonight. So to celebrate the 100th day of school, I am wearing a special shirt that I found online somewhere. If I find where I got it from, I'll link it down below. But it says 100 magical days and it has a unicorn on the side. Perfect for me and all the magical things that I love. So I can't wait to have a great day with the students. I am right now finishing off a special math review game that I will be having the students work on today. And this is the review game that I made myself, so I can't wait to share this with you in my TPT store once it is done. But I need to finish the last 2 cards of the game. I need to print it out, I need to laminate it, so I'm gonna turn on my laminator and get things going. I do have a little 100th day of school activity that the students will work on this morning when they come in, which I'll show you in a little bit or a little later because I need to finish this. But I will be sure to tell you all the awesome things that we get accomplished today. So let me go ahead and finish that and I will catch up with you soon. I am now coming to you at the end of the day and it has been a day jam-packed with various different learning activities. I would like to show you a couple of those in a moment, but this morning we started by introducing the students to our new Wonders Unit 3, Week 5, which goes over genetically modified foods and introduces persuasive text and also point of view. Because even though the author is showing us 2 different points of view, the author themselves has a point of view on the topic. So it's all about extracting that point of view and figuring out what it is. So when the students were watching the introductory video this morning, I posed a question on the board and then we looked at the benefits and the drawbacks of genetically modified foods. And this is the T-chart that we came up with. As you can see, the question is right up here and here's the T-chart, which is 2-column notes on the benefits and then the drawbacks of genetically modified foods. Along with this, the students then listened to a listening comprehension on organic foods, and then we started going over our vocabulary for this particular unit. Tomorrow, we're gonna finish going over the vocabulary and then going into our shared read. And maybe we'll have time to do 2 readings of it tomorrow, we'll see. But I do wanna make sure that the students understand the genre of the text and the reading skill along with the strategy for reading. So that is what we did in Language Arts, ELA, English and Language Arts. And then the students went to lunch. After lunch, Ms. Guzman was able to do her little reteach lesson on symmetry. And then the students started working on a new review game that I created. And this review game went over the first 6 lessons of chapter 10. So almost the entire chapter, except for 1 more lesson that I'm going to teach tomorrow. So let me show you these cards that I created for that chapter. And these are my creations. So I'm going to tweak a little bit now that I did it with my students. I know the places that I need to kind of fix things and change them up for next time, but I will be putting these up in my TPT store soon, so stay tuned. Let me show you them. So these are the cards that I was just talking about. I refer to this as my solve, move, repeat review game kind of thing. And basically I created different stages. So each deck of cards belongs to a different team. I did color code them, but all the teams have the same cards and they go over each lesson in our chapter 10 for Go Math. So they first solve it once they get it checked, and Ms. Guzman and myself had one of these which shows the answers. Once they get them all checked, they get to do the move it activity. So for stage 1, they needed to hop on 1 foot for 1 minute and then shout 1 down, let's go. Now, this is one of the things I'll be changing. 1 minute is way too long for these kids to be hopping on 1 foot. I told them they could alternate so that they didn't have to hop on 1 foot for the whole entire minute. But next time, I think I'm just going to say hop on 1 foot 10 times and then say 1 down, let's go. So here is stage 2, which goes over classifying triangles. And then this one, once they get it all checked, they needed to complete 2 lunges on each leg and then shout, "We're just too cool." I don't know, I just was coming up with all these different sayings that went along with the stage number. So 2 is a homophone of the number 2, so I decided to use that one. Stage 3, and I know they're dirty because the students use dry erase markers on these to work, and then we asked them to just erase it. So stage 3, they are working on parallel and perpendicular lines, so they needed to draw these parallel lines, these perpendicular lines, and they needed to find intersecting and parallel lines within these shapes. And then once they got that checked, they did 3 toe touches on each leg and then shouted 3 more to go because there was total 6 cards. So then here is stage 4, which went over classifying quadrilaterals. And then after that, they completed 4 squats and then shouted, "We 4 score more." Stage 5 went over symmetry. So they needed to either say whether these 2 had line of symmetry or not, yes or no. And then here they needed to write whether they had 0, 1, or more than 1 lines of symmetry. Once they got that checked, they did 5 jumping jacks and gave their team a high five. And the last card, stage 6, was a review of different things from those lessons. And then once they got this correct, they completed 6 alternating high knees and then shouted, "We are all done." So this was an activity that was super engaging, super loud. There was a lot of excitement going on in the classroom. One thing I do have to stress to the students next time we do a review game like this is that they do not need to shout if they are done. I think I'm just gonna tell them when you're all done and your card is complete and you need us to check it, just raise your hand so that we can check to verify if you're correct. I like this activity too because I was able to instantly remediate and correct students that may not have been getting an answer correctly. It also supports the students that may not understand the concept fully because they have their team to help them out in figuring out the solutions. So I really love this activity and I wanted to incorporate some kind of brain break along with the math review. So that's why I call it my solve, move, repeat. And yeah, it was a great activity. They were able to review that. Now I just have to teach one more lesson in chapter 10, which is on shape patterns. And then the students will take their test on Wednesday, which means that by Thursday, we are going to introduce chapter 11 of Go Math, which is all about angles, and Ms. Guzman is going to be teaching that lesson. So it's very exciting. And then we gave the class time to meet with their houses. If you're not familiar, I have 4 houses in my classroom with a 5th house that unifies all houses. I do have a Harry Potter theme, but even last year without a Harry Potter theme, I still had houses. So I have River, which is the house of the dreamers, Yurifiki, which is the house of the friendly, Valor, which is the house of the brave, and Kalosini, the house of the benevolent, and we all belong to Hekima, which is the house of wisdom. I will leave a link to my resource down below for my house sorting guide, which I do sell on TPT. But basically, totally being honest, we haven't had time to have the houses meet in a long time. So I wanted to give them some time to meet so that they can come up with some kind of song or play or chant to share with the entire class on Friday. However, after 15 minutes of giving them some time, there were some students that needed the structure. So I had to use my reflective mind and say, okay, I realize that you all need some structure in this. So tomorrow I will have you use the Vocabulary Lyric Lab, and I need every single house to create a new rap or lyric that you can set to a beat on vocabulary so that you can perform it on Friday. So I'm going to give them a sheet, and every single person in that house needs to create at least 2 lines that represent that chant that they are creating. There's 5 members in each house, so each member 2 lines. That's a 10-line little lyric or rap that they can create. Next week when the houses meet, I'm going to structure it again, and I'm going to have them create a poster that symbolizes the values that their house represents. And then the following week, I'm going to have them work on maybe writing a poem on that or creating a skit and so forth. I want to give them some kind of structure because they do need it in order to then be able to freely use their creative thinking juices to create something awesome that represents their house. So then after that, we went over science, and in science, we were learning about the law of conservation of mass. So in order to help them understand this concept, which basically states that the mass of individual parts is the same as the mass of the whole entire thing put together. So we gave the students a little bit of Legos and they had to build something. And then I used a scale, which is right here, so that we can get the mass in grams of their built toy. Now, the only thing is that this scale, unfortunately, I noticed as I was going around, does not give you the decimal values of the grams. So when we were going to get the mass of the individual pieces, some of these pieces are less than a gram, but they will either show up on the scale as 0 or 1. So that didn't give an accurate sum of the individual pieces that reflected the total mass of the toy. So I went on Amazon and I found another scale that is like a pocket scale that goes up to the tenths. So hopefully that will be a more accurate representation of the sum of the pieces and then being able to compare it to the whole. So that's basically what we did. Other than that, the students got to spin the wheel. This is our reward wheel right here that has all of these different rewards. Basically, every time the students get a multiple of 50 on Dojo, they get to spin it that amount of times. And because this is the first time I'm introducing it, it did take a little longer today to have everyone spin the wheel the many times that they've earned. Some of the students earned it already twice. Some only earned it once, but are so close to their second. Some kids are close to their third. So maybe tomorrow, with the Dojo points that they're earning, they will get a chance to spin it a third time. But I do have a list of all the rewards that the students earned so that we can start rotating it. One of the rewards was a VIP caddy, which I want to show you. So let me show you that right now. This is my VIP Supplies caddy, and basically I got all of these things from Target, including this kind of fabric container and these little dollar tin cups from the dollar section. And in here we have the 30 count of the twistable Crayola color pencils. Here I have two different sets of Crayola markers. One is the original ones, which brings 10, and one is the bright and bold, which also brings 10. And then I added these new double doodlers, which come 10, but there's two different colors in each marker. So for a total of 20 different colors, so 20 plus these 20, like 40 different or 40 marker colors. These are the 48 count Crayola crayons. I have in here the View highlighters from Sharpie. There's 3 of them. So there's yellow, there's green, and there's pink. I also have 3 little Sharpie pens and these flare pens that are the fine tip flare pen, which I told the kids to be careful using it because this tip can actually bend and then it doesn't work anymore. So I told whoever's using the VIP supplies to please make sure that they treat them with care. There's a pair of scissors, there's a double strong, 2 times stronger glue stick, and there are some Ticonderoga pencils that they can use in order to complete their work throughout the day. So that is what makes up our VIP caddy, and that is one of the rewards on the reward wheel, which a lot of students got as their reward. I had to make a list and a schedule. We have students using the VIP supply caddy starting tomorrow, Tuesday. Well, one of them started today because he spun the wheel on Friday. So he started today, but I have students using the VIP supply caddy from tomorrow all the way until Valentine's Day next week. So that one that was chosen the most as the students rotated. All right, so that is basically my 100th day of school wrap up. And now I'm gonna go home and do some things and then take my dad out to dinner. So I will see you tomorrow. Hello everyone, today is Tuesday, February 5th, 2019, and I'm coming to you at the end of the day. Today the students had a great day where they went ahead and continued working on Unit 3, Week 5. We read about genetically modified foods, and it was a really interesting discussion. Needless to say, they didn't want to stop talking about it because they thought the topic was super interesting. We're going to continue talking about the topic tomorrow. We introduced the reading strategy, the reading skill, the vocabulary, and the genre. So tomorrow they're going to read about BT corn, which is a new kind of corn, and we're looking at point and counterpoint in persuasive articles, and how the author may present both points, but the author has their own point of view on that particular topic, and they were able to pinpoint that right away. So that was really great. So they'll be answering questions to that, and we're also going to be reviewing Chapter 10 through a Kahoot game. That will be a review game to wrap up our chapter, so tomorrow they can take their chapter test. Today in math, we went over patterns, and we had one particular pattern that shape patterns, I want to say, is about shape patterns. but one particular problem had them figure out what the next 3 figures will be in the shape pattern, which was easy to figure out. But I wanted to bump it up and challenge them to find some kind of rule or kind of mathematical equation that will help them figure out the number of circles in any of the figures in that pattern. It was a really good critical thinking moment because everybody was trying to figure it out. We weren't able to find a solution together because it was time for dismissal, but I said to them, we're going to talk about this in the morning. And in the morning, I'm going to show them exactly what the rule or the equation for solving any number of circles on any figure in that pattern, how we will go ahead and figure that out. So that was fun and exciting. So tomorrow they'll be taking the test after they do their review game, and we'll continue with reading. Wednesdays are usually very short because we only have time for reading or ELA and math, and then it's the end of the day. And then after school, we have a faculty meeting. Well, I know I talked to you about the law of conservation of mass yesterday and how the food scale that I was using didn't give you like the tenths or the hundredths in measuring grams. But I did go on Amazon and I found a little like pocket scale that goes up to the tenths in grams, and it just came. So I want to show you how it looks. So this is the digital scale that I purchased from Amazon, and I'll be sure to link it down below. I think the original price was like $29.99 or $39.99. I did not pay that, but you know that prices on Amazon do tend to fluctuate, but I only paid about $9 for this. And it is way cool. I already tried it. I tried to measure the toy all built together, wrote the grams down, and then I measured each piece of the toy individually and added them all up, and it was the same amount as the toy being built. So this is really great for doing that kind of experiment or lab or investigation. So I thought this was really great to have, and now I get to have one in the classroom, and maybe in the future it would be great to have one per group, so maybe buy 4 more so the students can use it in their tables for different activities. But for now, one will do, and in the future maybe we can get some more. All right, other than that, the students were given some time to work in their houses. I did print out the slides that show the characteristics or the character traits per house, which is part of my house sorting guide that again I'm linking down below. And that's basically all that we did for today. So now I'm going to take you on till tomorrow. So see you soon. Good morning, everyone. It's now Wednesday, February 6th, 2019, and I am here in the classroom trying to get my day ready. I do have one thing that I need to finish this morning because I could not for the life of me figure it out yesterday, and I might not be able to do it if I can't figure it out. So if I do figure it out, I'll let you know. Sorry, I'm leaving you in suspense, but that's just the reality of it all. I also realized that I didn't show you the activity that I gave my students in the morning on Monday, which was our 100th day of school. So let me show you, because it was just a quick little writing activity that I gave them, but I'll show you that right now. So this is the activity that I gave to my students. Obviously, I just cut it down the middle in half, so it's a little half sheet, and they just had to choose one emoji that showed how they felt on the 100th day or about the first 100th day and why they feel that way. So it was a little quick writing activity, and that's pretty much what we did on the 100th day of school. So yeah, it wasn't like a big thing that we did, but we did talk about that. Let me go ahead and continue working on this thing that I need to figure out, and I will speak to you later. Now the end of the day, we had a really great day. I was finally able to figure out that thing I told you earlier that I was trying to figure out. Plus, you saw some clips of the students playing Kahoot to review for their Math Chapter 10 assessment, which they took today. And the thing I was trying to figure out, I'll show you right now, is how to add specific pictures to Kahoot. I know you could add your own, but I was having trouble last night adding my own pictures because Kahoot kept like zooming them in and they were not looking the way I needed them to. But this morning I figured it out. So I do want to share that tip with you in case you're interested in adding your own pictures to your Kahoots that you can use so that the students can answer questions. So the students did that. They took their test. I started grading their papers, and it seems that they are fully understanding the concepts that we were teaching them in Chapter 10. So that's awesome. In the morning, we had reading, so we were finishing our second read of food fight. I had them do 3 annotations after they did their second reading. And then we went on to our main selection, which is a new kind of corn, still continuing the genetically modified foods topic. So I have the students read that main selection silently first and also complete some of the comprehension questions in the comprehension trifold for that selection, which I'm going to show you right now. So this is the little trifold or brochure that I created for a new kind of corn, which is our main selection for Wonders Unit 3, Week 5. This is our essential question, and these pictures pretty much go with what the unit is talking about. We did survey the text where they had to read the title, tell the topic, they look for text features, and list the ones that they noticed. Then they determine the genre and what purpose it serves, and then they make a prediction. This is what I have them work on, which is they did their analysis, they were determining the main idea, and then they did their annotations. This is the same thing that I've used with them in the past. So they had to write 3 annotations based on that selection. And then these are the questions that they needed to answer, which cover a variety of reading strategies and standards. On the back, there is space for the paired selection, which we haven't read yet. We will read this tomorrow. So they have to answer this question. And then I bring them back to the essential question for that particular unit and week, so that they can see how those 2 selections help answer that question. So this is the little foldable or trifold or brochure that they were working with reading today. All right, so now I would like to show you what I was able to figure out with my Kahoot this morning that allowed the students to play their little Kahoot review game. It only had 10 questions because they had already done the other review game earlier this week on Monday for lessons 10.1 through 10.6. So this Kahoot was very heavy on questions from 10.7, which was on shape patterns. But I also threw in like maybe 3 different questions that also covered other sections of that chapter before they took their tests. So here we go. So if you don't know about Kahoot, this is the Kahoot website. It is free. There are some paying memberships, but if you don't need the additional features, you could just do the free one. So you can either sign up, or if you already have Kahoot, you can log in. But I'm going to take you to the quiz that I created, and I gave it the title Shape Patterns and Attributes, and I put a total of 10 questions. Now, when you make a Kahoot game, you can add questions, and this is pretty much how it's going to look. You can put the question here, which is required, and for the free version, you are limited on the number of characters. You can say whether you want to award points or not. You can then say how many seconds the students will have to answer it, and here are the answer choices. Now, along with just writing the question, I also inserted a picture, which is this image right here. And this is what I couldn't figure out last night because my image kept getting, let me see if I can do it, like that cut up. So I needed it to just fit in the space so that the students can see it when they are answering the question. So in order to do that, how I created this image is I went into my PowerPoint. And in PowerPoint, you can create slides. And I actually just did it with a regular widescreen slide. And I used these shapes that I bought from TPT, and I'll let you know who I got these from in a moment. But once I put the shapes in, I then grouped the shapes. As you can see, they're individual shapes that I just grouped together so that once I group it, I can go to my drawing tools format and I can align it center and align it middle. For example, if it was over here and I say align center, align middle, it brings it right here. Now I noticed that if I have my image go all the way to the edges of the slide, they will get cut off with Kahoot. So all of the images that I needed for this pattern quiz, the shape patterns quiz, I make sure that I left them right in the center of the slide so that I can easily insert them in my Kahoot and I can connect a question so that when students were playing the live game, they were able to see these pictures and do the math, which I believe, in my opinion, it's hard to do this kind of math Kahoot on Kahoot itself, because if you look back at how you can write the questions, there are not that many options that they can give you. Now, there are some equations here and symbols and things like that that you can use, but it's pretty limited. I mean, you do have some great options here, but I really needed to show my students some shape patterns. So I make sure that I use my images from PowerPoint. Now, what do I mean by that? So once you have an image on the slide and you created your slide, you can select any slide, but once you do that, you can go to File, you can go to Export, change file type, and JPEG, and you can save it as a JPEG. You give it a name, and I already have it saved
in my picture folder, which is here under geometry, and it's already saved there, as you can see, where I saved all of the other ones that I am using in this Kahoot. So you can either save the slides per slide, or you can save them all at once. So that's what I did. I saved the slides as pictures, and then I inserted those pictures in the actual Kahoot where it says right here, like say I'm going to remove it. I'm going to remove this one. It gives you these options. You can use their library, but you do need to have a paid subscription in order to access some of these, or you can just upload your image, and that's exactly what I did. So I found the image that I wanted. I opened it. I know it looks cut off, but if you click on crop, it is right there. And that's exactly how it looks on the game. So I click save, and now it doesn't look like it's cut off. And basically, yep, that's how I was able to create this Kahoot. Let me show you how it looks. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to say play it. One thing that I did do today, I did play the team mode, and I took off the answer streak bonus because the answer streak bonus is given for students that answer it very quickly. And I also took off podium, which is, this is where they rank in like a podium, first, second, and third, etc. And I only left randomizing the questions, the answers, and making sure that the pin is displayed throughout the entire game. So I did choose game mode, and then the students were able to log into their teams once the code shows, which is going to show in a few seconds. So once the code shows, the students can then start to sign up. And because I'm using teams, they wrote their team name, which they use the color teams that we have in the classroom. And then as a nickname, they wrote everyone's name down. But instead of playing it by teams, so I can just show you the game, I'm going to just do classic, which is individual players. And I'm going to insert the pin right here in another, so I can show you how it looks. So 344 308. Let me make sure. Yep. I'm going to enter. I'm going to give myself a nickname or my name, and I'm going to say go. So I'm in, and I'm just waiting for the teacher. So I can come here, and let's say everybody is in. So I click start. So 10 questions. Are you ready? And this is how it looks, but I have to switch back and forth because I record with my phone. So here's question 1 is coming up. Here's question 1, how many squares? So here's the picture. So how many squares will the next figure have in the following picture? So I can come here and I can go and answer on my own, that is triangle, because that was 12. So, and then I can afterwards, after the students answered it, I can actually show media so that they can see the picture enlarged in case anyone may have picked the wrong answer. So we can instantly talk about what they answered, and if they answered incorrectly, why that would be. So I'm going to click on next to show the next questions, in which direction, up or down, would the next 2 arrows be facing in the following pattern. So here's question 2. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Here it is, down, up, up. So then up. So the next one is up, down. So up, down is this rhombus right here. So I'm going to click on rhombus, and I got it right. So that's basically the Kahoot that we played. And again, you can show media, and they can see the picture, etc. Let me show you how the other ones look. And here's the other one. I do have to say that because I had to make them small. They do look kind of small, but I did tell the students that they can come up to the board. This one, I actually increased the time for them to answer it from 20 seconds to 60 seconds. And in team mode, they do give them additional seconds so that they can talk to their teams about what could possibly be the answer to the question. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer this one. And there it is. So that's basically the Kahoot game that my students did today for math review. And I hope you learned a little bit of tips on how you can use PowerPoint to create math pictures that you can then insert into your own Kahoot quiz. So that was a little thing that I worked on today and did with my students. Now I want to tell you where I got those great geometry graphics from. The first one is this Geometry Clipart Mega Shapes pack. I know it's $11, but it's so totally worth it. There are so many shapes and attributes that are available for you to use. So I use this one a lot. It's by Say Beluga. And the other one is from my friend Zip Daddy Duda. And this is her Angles, Lines, and Rays clip art. I also have 2 more from her on geometry. So I highly recommend her for any of your mathematical graphics that you can use in activities you create in the classroom, or Kahoot games. I do want to say that if you use these clip arts in your Kahoot, please make sure that you give them credit in the Kahoot themselves. There is a space where you can actually give credit to the clip art artist. So that is the little tips and tricks that I wanted to share with you regarding Kahoot and using PowerPoint to create great images to insert in your Kahoot games.
So that's where I'm going to end this 3-day vlog. I do have to get a lot of things ready for tomorrow. I gotta put papers away. I gotta find some things for my student teacher. She's getting observed by her supervisor tomorrow. And she will come on the next vlog from this week so that she can sit down and reflect on the week. So I will leave you now, and I hope you enjoyed coming along with me on this 3-day vlog, and I hope that you also enjoyed my 2 little review game ideas for math that I used with my students this week to review all the concepts we've been learning in chapter 10. Tomorrow we start a new chapter, which is all on angles. So you'll see what happens then. So if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment down below, let me know what you thought or any questions you may have. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell for notifications so you don't miss any future videos. I hope you have a beautiful, magical day, and don't forget to smile. Hello dreamers, wishers, and magical thinkers. Thank you so much for making it to the very end of this video and for showing your support. If you'd like to subscribe, you can do so by clicking on my picture down here. You can also check out my latest videos here and here. Don't forget to believe in the magic that's inside you because you are capable of great things. See you next time.